Today's episode is brought to you by Munchie Mug, the world's #1 premium no-spill snack cup. Listen to today's episode for a special offer from Munchie Mug. Munchie Mug, making your life less messy. Hey everybody, welcome to Don't Make Me Come Back There. We are a funny podcast about family. My name is Dustin Nickerson. I'm a stand-up comedian and the host of the aforementioned podcast. And alongside me in the I forget every week. South corner. East. Is that? You know what, guys? I'm all over the place right now. In our recording studio,
Southeast?
My brain is, due south. We are north wind of Chula Vista right now. Is my co-host, art teacher, CFO of Dustin Nickerson Comedy LLC, and my lovely wife, Melissa Nickerson.
Hey there.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody, to our little podcast that could. Welcome back to the backseaters. You know, back. With a little Chris Berman on there. We are excited to talk to you today.
That's right.
About a flurry of topics, some which are planned, but mostly Mel and I just need to catch up. And we spent
and we're here to do it.
We spent the last hour passionately debating plans on how to continue to help our ADD child. And, you know, that was a very polite way of me saying we were fighting over what's best for our kid. But that's a good fight, parents. It's a good fight.
We care a lot.
You care a lot, to quote Melissa Nickerson, defending herself all the time. Sorry for caring so much. I will say the best kind of fight that you have is when you are both coming from good motives and you just have a fundamental disagreement on a problem or whether or not the problem is a problem at all. And you both want what is best for your child. And, you just care. You just care. That's all. Mm-hmm. Sorry for caring so much. We have had dumb fights. A lot of dumb fights. Yeah. What do you think is the dumbest fight we've ever had? Not to just throw you on the spot like that. The dumbest. I spat. At times. Our family is a passionate family, as we say. But I've found myself here in my middle age not wanting to have, like, Taylor and I spat a lot, and her and I were recently like talking about the Spokane airport, and I was like, yeah, it's small. She's like, it's not that small. Like, she came very confrontational. And I just responded back, Taylor, I don't want to fight about the size of the Spokane airport. And I think that's growth.
I think our pettiest, dumbest fights are about semantics. Mm-hmm. Like, this word, no, this word. You know, like
Right. Well, there's triggering words.
There's something, of course, there's stuff underneath that. But we disagree on the terminology.
Right.
That we're assigning to, like, a topic.
Right.
But that's what you say in your book.
Right.
Your great quote. The cracks on the sidewalk. It's what's under it.
Oh, yeah. It's the tree, baby.
Tree under the sidewalk.
It's that tree in that yard over there.
Literally in our backyard. It's cracking the sidewalk.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of flies back there. We don't have dogs, but we kind of deal with most of the negative effects of having a dog, which is we smell their poop, flies come from their poop, and they bark. So you're like, well, I get none of the perks of dog. Right.
They're very well-behaved dogs, but the flies laid 1,000 eggs last night, and they're all in our backyard today.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
You know what?
What?
Okay.
Here we go. Mel just had inspiration.
I've been inspired. I was at a party on Saturday. I stopped by.
Gosh, I love being gone on the weekends.
Neighbor's son
Huge
re-enlisted.
perk to my job, everybody, is that I miss all these weekend parties. Oh, sorry, Dustin's out of town.
This is twofold. Neighbor's son re-enlisted in the Navy. They just got off the boat in San Diego that day. They had a party. A couple of these young men threw up in the bushes. Now,
no, okay, hold on, Melissa.
That's where the flies came from.
You mean to tell me
we share a fence?
No, I don't buy that. You mean to tell me that young men in the Navy drank too much? You mean that young men in the Navy, home from deployment
on a boat,
coming back to San Diego, at a weekend party? You mean that? I don't buy any of this. This story is unbelievable. I don't. No, it's the dogs. You're right. That didn't help. That
didn't help the flies. Oh, but I also have to piggyback on a very funny. So I was going to bring the girls with me. I texted my neighbor, we'll be there. I'll bring the girls because, they like food and stuff. Right. And so I get over there and I'm like, hi, I don't have the girls. And they're like, why not? And I was like, well, when I agreed to come, I forgot that Claire had a virtual play date.
Right.
And
a virtual play date.
And this is like mom, son who's early 20s, grandparents, they're all there talking to me.
Yeah.
And they're all laughing about the virtual play date.
Virtual play date sounds like a thing you shouldn't Google.
They were like, the grandparents were like, wow, whatever keeps her out of trouble.
Yeah.
And I laughed and I was like, I know, this friend moved and, we're trying to keep in touch. And so sure enough, like we were all housebound because of this virtual play date at 4 p.m. on Saturday.
That is a very funny phrase.
And it was true. So
virtual play date sounds like one of those things that on those
play date is hilarious.
On those sketchy commercials that come on late at night.
Yeah.
Hey there.
Do
you need a virtual play date?
Yeah, exactly.
We're waiting.
Yeah. Phone lines open.
Phone lines open. There's a great old Beavis and Butthead episode of where they call the line, and on the other end, it's just like some old, huge woman smoking in her chair.
Yeah. Yeah. With a sexy voice.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly right. You're like, I don't think that's. Do you want a virtual play date? That is just one of those statements that is going to come from this era and this era only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because then eventually all of them will be virtual. No one's going anywhere.
Oh my gosh.
We're all just going to log on.
It's all VR.
It's all VR, baby. It's the dumbest thing that people do. You're like, you're still going to no. That's like
it's like a handshake has been replaced with a like.
Great. You mean a Facebook poke? Because we tried to do that, and people were like, this feels weird. I feel like we could have chosen a different avenue than this. But anyways, that being said, we promised we're going to be all over the place today because we have been, I am home, Dad is home for 48 hours, and then I hit the road again.
We're all over the place.
I am quite literally all over the place in the country. Geographically, this last weekend, I started on Thursday supporting Joel at a sporting event. I enjoyed that, getting to watch him. It's fantastic. Woke up early in the morning. We were driving home because it was at night, and it was a nice little moment because I was like, hey, we need to get going. And he's like, why? I was like, well, I got a flight at 6 a.m. He's like, oh, I didn't know you were doing that. I go, why? He goes, why did you come? And it just hit him. And he was like, oh, thanks, Dad. I was like, yes. It's so funny how sometimes with kids, you just have to really spell it out for them. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't looking for praise there. I wasn't looking like no one needs to get thanked for coming to their kid's sporting event. That's baseline.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if you're available. But he saw the sacrifice and it just hit him. He's like, oh, yeah, I saw that, Dad. And then Friday, I flew to Atlanta. We did the show in ASW Whiskey Exchange. Fantastic crowd there. There was one fan who was there. This guy, Steven, he's been a fan for a long time. And I recognized him because we've engaged enough on socials. Mm-hmm. And I said his name and he was like blown away. And I was like, well, I mean, that's what you get for being an early adapter.
Yeah.
If you were like one of the followers I had, like I talk about how, I respond to a lot of DMs and stuff. But at a certain point, there are like right now, it depends on seasons because there were seasons where I didn't have a lot of followers or seasons where things are just kind of slow on the internet. But particularly Instagram has been rocking lately. Every time I get in, there's a bunch of new things. And you're like, well, I can't respond to all of these. But I'll try. But anyways, it was nice for him to come out.
Nor do you have to. It's fun when you can.
Well, also, it's a battle for every ticket sold at where we're at. Like, so if somebody says, come to Atlanta on a post that has 15 comments, I respond to that. If sometimes I DM them. And so there were folks at each show that were like, you DM'd me the link to these shows.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, we're out here working, baby.
Yeah.
I wish I was talented enough to not work hard, but I am not. I don't have nearly the amount of talent it requires to not hustle.
Well, those tickets sold, that's it's the bread and butter.
Listen, guys, we did 4 shows this last weekend, and 3 of the 4 sold out. And the only one that didn't sell it was the show that we added in Minneapolis. All of them, they were great. Atlanta, cool venue. Thanks for coming out. Super fun. It was one of those, like, I made the joke when I was on stage, like Atlanta. I don't think I did tell you this joke, but like Atlanta is such a funny place because.
You told me this.
Yeah. That, when you're in it, you're like, this place is amazing. It's iconic. It's culturally rich. And then as soon as you get outside of Atlanta, it's like it's a lot of people that are upset about a Black Little Mermaid.
Right.
So that's that like area. But it was like a drive from the airport, and you're like, you guys, a lot of these times I have no idea where these gigs are. I performed in 3 venues tonight that each time I walked in, that was the first time I had been in that venue.
Those little independent rooms.
These were independent venues each night, and 3 for 3, they were all great. But like Minneapolis had this weird thing where there was like the crowd and then a long bar and then the crowd again. So there was this like kind of gap where there was no crowd. And you're like, you got there and you're like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is an independent venue. This is what we're doing here. I didn't have a comedy club in this town that would book me. Same with Atlanta. So it was great. Atlanta was fantastic. Then I flew to Minneapolis the next day, caught up with your brother. That was a nice treat. Walked around the Great Wall of America, the Great Mall of America for a while. Yeah, the Great Wall of it. It is, you get into the Great Mall of America, and I had been, and you just go, yeah, it's a big mall. It's a big mall. And it was funny, your brother, who is a genius and a real world traveler and real scholarly type.
Yes.
He came to our hotel, and I was over by the airport, and so the airport is right next to the mall, and we're like, well, we'll just go find something in here. And we went, and he goes like, this is exactly what I would expect your scholarly brother to say. He goes, I can't remember the last time I was in a mall. And you and I are like, we try and hit up that Fashion Valley Mall a couple times a month.
Yeah.
I love being in a mall.
You have to, even if you buy stuff online, you have to return it.
He's also lived in Vietnam and Ukraine over the last 10, 15 years.
Right.
I don't know how much mall. I don't know what the mall situation.
I think they're more of like an REI family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. What he did say was, he goes, I've been to that IKEA a bunch though.
Yeah.
That is funny that the world is divided between REI and mall people. I don't think there's a lot of crossover, because if you are an REI type person, everything you would wear is at REI, and then a Target. There's got to be, you got to get your socks and underwear somewhere. But
yeah, I agree.
So anyways, Minneapolis was great. Highly underrated town. I love Minneapolis so much. And then Portland on Sunday. So I get up in the morning, each morning, confused on where I am for the first 2 minutes or so.
You're just getting a couple hours of sleep.
And I check my bag in, and this has never happened. I go to check my bag at the Minneapolis airport, and the lady who saw that I had gone from San Diego to Atlanta to Minneapolis to Portland in 3.5 days goes, well, you've had a busy weekend. And that's like, she said it as she was peeling the stickers off of my bag, which you always do, but I was like, do that. Let them do it. But pretty funny, and it was indeed very busy, but all great shows. 4 for 4 were really fun. And then Sunday at the Old Church, which is the most we've ever sold at one show. We sold that out.
One show, one city.
Coolest venue. I wish it was bigger and we could do it forever. Or maybe my career's peaked and we will do it forever. I don't know.
Ooh.
But the Old Church is a really, really awesome downtown Portland. And Portland, each time I go back, is like waking up a little more, just feels a little more. Now, downtown Portland has never been super exciting.
No.
But it just had no life to it. But more people were at the riverfront, and, it just was like or more people staying at the hotels and stuff. I mean, really, what I'm comparing it to is when Taylor did all those shows. She's 17 shows, and I did like 10 of them.
Yeah.
At that, when Helium was at 50, not 50% capacity, 50 people capacity. And we were just in there for like 6-7 days. And that's when I walked out of Portland with a mustache.
Yep.
That's where.
That was it.
I came in with a beard. I left with a mustache. Portland, Oregon. That should be on a shirt. So anyways, thanks for coming out, everybody. The seasonal headliner tour is wrapping up. Can't
believe it.
We have just a few dates left. This Friday, I will be at Liberty University in Lynchburg. And then on Sunday, the 25th, I'll be at Louisville Comedy Club in Louisville. And then we are on special taping week in Houston. If you didn't buy tickets, sold out.
Woo.
Sorry. But you got to go to Dallas, because Dallas is 2 days later. I mean, you can go to Austin too, but you should go to Dallas. I don't remember how. There's a triangle there, the Houston, Dallas, Austin thing. That's all fairly connected. So that show's sold out, but September 30th and October 1st, Cap City Comedy Club. Early show Friday is sold out. Still tickets available for the late show. Very few available for the Saturday show, though. So buy those tickets real quick. And then October 2nd, we just added that second show in Dallas for the recording for the special. 5 p.m., 7 p.m. I said this on
7:30.
7:30 p.m. I said this on stage the other day because I did that 10 p.m. show in Minneapolis. I was like, we got to stop adding late shows. Add an early show.
Yeah.
For my demographic, it's like if we go into a weekend and they're like, hey, let's add shows. We need to start going. Give me a Thursday, sure, an early, like a Thursday date. Do not give me a Friday late show because those are always hard for parents to get out to. No parent wants to go to something at 10 p.m. on a Friday. No, none of them do. And I think a lot of people in general, somebody said this the other day that they said like late shows in general, I think people just kind of got used to staying home a little more. Yeah. You're like, I don't want to go. Because if you're going to a 10 p.m. comedy show, you're not even getting ready until like 8. And by the time 8 p.m. hits around, if you're not getting drinks or whatever beforehand.
If you're not like 21, because that 21-year-olds do that kind of stuff. We actually, our first comedy show that I like planned and took you to was at 9:30. Right. But that was because our kids were so little.
We could get our kids asleep.
That the babysitter could just sit in our house.
But we knew we were going to have an early morning the next day. That's just the reality of that.
Yeah.
So
like a 7.
I'm saying 6 and 8 on Saturdays.
Right. You can do that on Saturdays. We did that 4:30.
It's sold out in Nashville.
On a Saturday?
Yeah. I say early shows and then give me some Sunday shows.
Yeah. This 7:30 on Sunday is great.
Yeah. Do not. I would rather plan on one show a night and then just add early shows.
Yeah, one show Thursday, one show Friday.
Have to. So
early
anyways,
Saturday,
that
Sunday.
being said, October 2nd, 5 and 7:30, that's the taping. All right. And then we finish off this tour with the last two cities will be October 14th and 15th at Mark Ridley's Comedy Club in Royal Oak. That's Detroit. And then October 19th at Helium Comedy Club in Philly. That's it. That's the end of the seasonal headliner tour. We will relaunch up some headlining dates in January. The only ones on sale right now are Helium Comedy Club in St. Louis, January 6th and 7th, and that's because that is a reschedule. So that's on sale now.
Awesome.
We're figuring it out, everybody. We're doing, we're and then you tour with Tay and then the stuff and then the Nate. There's a lot going on, but we're figuring it all out. But it really means a lot to me that you guys are coming. That being said, let me read also a pod review. You guys have been doing a good job with the pod reviews and the book reviews, so thank you. This is a new one we got here, and this is kind of connects to what I just said. This is a big thanks from Texas, 5-star review. It says, hey, y'all, thank you for producing these podcasts. I'm a senior in high school, and I'm not able to get out to see any of your shows because they aren't ever in Houston. Well, that's not true. I just had one in Houston, but it's sold out. I enjoy your content with my out loud laughs on the 30-minute drive to school. That's like you, 30-minute drive to school.
I know. If I would have had podcasts, I would have stayed awake on that drive.
I'm always eager for new episodes and always ready to hear y'all's funny family stories and trying to help raise kids and keep your life straight. Thanks again for doing what you do. That's from Owen. You're welcome, Owen.
Thank you, Owen.
Thanks for listening all the way out from driving to high school.
Fantastic.
We're going to do a bunch of emails here today. But before we get into that, that's actually a nice segue into something that we are starting to deal with right now, which is driving, teenagers driving, and riding with your friends. I mean, like, his Joe rode with a friend this week, didn't he? Didn't a friend drive him?
Okay, so California has all these new rules. I mean, they're not that new. Just we didn't have them.
We didn't have them
in Washington State.
What we had as kids growing up was you could get your full license. You get a driver's permit when you're like 15.
Yeah.
And that was somebody had to be in the car with you, your parent or whatever, an adult. And then when you were 16, like I got my license the day I turned 16.
Yep.
I never passed my written test.
Really?
Yeah, I've told you that, right? Did you not know this story?
Okay, this seems vaguely familiar, and it all checks out.
This is related to things we were talking about today about ADD and test skills and bad memorizer. Always been a bad memorizer, and passed the driving test with flying colors. The only thing that I didn't nail was parallel parking. I've never been a great parallel parker, but backed around a curb, backed into a spot.
Right.
Yeah, I passed that flying, and I didn't fail I didn't get super high marks on the parallel park.
You can be okay at parallel parking.
I'm just that.
Not a big deal.
But I'd failed the written test, and then I go back to retake it, my written test.
Okay.
And they go, no, you passed it. And I go, oh, I know I failed it. I know I failed that test. And they go, well, our records show that you passed it. And then they gave me my license.
Well, because you would take the driving test on your 16th birthday.
Right.
Yeah, and then you would get your license.
Yep. So I got my license on my 16th. I never have, I've still never fully known the equation of alcohol drinks to water. And how much divided by hours of time. I don't even remember what was on the written test. I mean, obviously,
if you're driving at sunset and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Who has the right of way?
If you're taking a right hand
There's
turn.
a lot of right of way questions. Who has the right of way? And I never knew the answer to those. And I was like, I think you just kind of feel it out. That's the
4-way stop.
Yeah. I don't know. Whoever waves.
Finger waves. Yeah.
When did you get yours on your 16th birthday?
I did. Yeah, I did. But
June 23rd.
I don't know if our high school had driver's ed. That's like not an offering a lot of high schools do anymore. But I know you took yours over the summer.
At my high school.
At your high school.
And I would babysit after.
Yeah, and so you did morning. Joel's school doesn't offer it. Guess what? It's online.
It's all online now, baby. Virtual play dates.
VR driver's ed.
What could go wrong?
A Wii will.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just playing video games at that point. So, but we got a full driver's license. I bought that, and that's how I all of a sudden was a pretty in-demand date for sophomore year dances because I had a fall birthday.
Okay.
And now for homecoming and winter formal, this guy had we were a winter Tolo. This guy had a license, baby.
Yeah, no, it's different now. So you have to do like all these hours before you take your driving test. And then I think for a year, you can only drive siblings, not friends.
Which comes from a good place, but I don't think they realize that our son's the thing that is most catnip to him is his sisters. So that might be a bad thing, actually. Nothing makes him get more hyped and crazy and lack self-control than his sisters.
The other tricky thing is that California just pushed back the start time on high schools and middle schools.
Thank you.
And
I'm all for that. I love that.
Yes, that's great. But now our daughters have to leave, like starting next year, our daughters have to leave at 7:30 and our son gets up at 7:30.
Right.
So if
he's not a ride for them.
He's driving next year, he's not driving them.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Their schools are like a quarter mile apart.
Well, have fun navigating all that, Mel, because I get up. Really, you know what? As is right now, I wake up at 8:10. That's Dad's wake up time.
Yeah.
Because on any given night, we always assume I either go to bed later or we go to bed at the same time usually or right around there.
But you're catching up.
I'm catching up. I usually get less sleep over the weekend. I usually don't sleep the whole night through either. So there's just more interruptions in my sleep. So you very graciously, I do and I get up at 8:10. Finish. Well, what's been happening this last week or two is you're driving Joel in and you go, get up. And then I get up and I get her ready and you brush her hair and I get her dressed. And then we're usually walking in. Now, she's transferring schools next year to a school that you have to drive to. So I'm just done. I'm like, the way that I look at it is I'm retiring.
And here I thought Joel was going to take all three of them next year.
No, it seems to me that you actually have to have 2 kids ready earlier than you used to. I think next year is actually going to be worse for you. And I'm sorry about that for you. That does suck for you. I mean, it's not ideal.
It honestly, unless Joel is driving you to the airport, paying $350 a month in insurance,
right,
to have a teenage son driver,
right.
That's
you're
why
you're like, I'm not sure if this is worth it.
Exactly. That's why a lot of kids don't get licensed here.
Right.
Well, especially where we are because we purposely live close to our kids' schools.
We live so close to their school. It's very walkable. Each of the 3 of their schools are very walkable. Yeah. And it's not a big deal to go get them after school. The pickups are, if anything, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go drive somewhere real quick. I'll go swing by Dark Horse Coffee while I'm out. Yeah.
You had that one day and you're going to make that TikTok about how you still should.
Yeah.
Where you had the whiteboard where you were like back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
That's how I should make it, is I should draw it out. Yeah. I should show like these are our kids' schools because I calculated it. We had 3 children who we took 3 different schools and then came home and then went back to those schools and then came home again,
Yeah.
and then went out to 3 different
Sporting
after-school activities, and then came back again, and then went and picked them up from 3 different after-school activities. You're just going, this is so many one-way trips, so many there and back, there and back, there and back. Each kid got 2 there and backs. And that's just, you're just going, this is what I do. I'm just, particularly on that day, because now Claire doesn't have an after-school, Claire only has an after-school activity 2 days a week, but it's about to go up because she wants to do more. And you're, and that's why it's nice that everything's close, with the exception of Gloria's kayaking.
Right. I do think I used to have an hour-long loop where we all left at 7:30. And I dropped each kid at preschool, middle school, elementary school.
Right.
And it was like, I think I called it the trifecta or something.
Hilarious.
But I did it 3 days a week, and we had it down.
Right.
Like, the kids ate in the car. Claire never got dressed at home because she was the last drop.
Right.
You know, and there was like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So we all had I had my coffee in the car. I had my breakfast in the car. We just...
And so did Claire.
Yeah.
Because we had munchie mugs.
They all did.
That I would say that's the perfect, that is maybe the world's most perfect application for a munchie mug, which is food on the go, baby.
You're going to put in that snack cup blueberries.
Raspberries.
Cheerios. Not with milk, just Cheerios.
Yeah, just straight Cheerios. Yeah.
No milk in the car.
Yeah. Grapes.
That's right. Sliced strawberries.
Peanuts.
No, gotta be careful with that. For
kids
over.
Not to the school. You would not take that to the school. That
Kids
would not
over.
leave out. Yeah. Well, yeah, because if they're really sensitive and they smell peanut on another kid's breath, is that a thing?
Stop.
That's a thing, right?
You're gonna get hate mail.
I'm not saying I believe in it, that it's real. I'm so sorry.
You can have them before.
You can have them before. Yeah.
As long as you aren't kissing.
As long as you take mouthwash before you come in here. Anyways, the Munchie Mug is the best spill-proof cup on the market. We are big fans of Munchie Mug. We use them, have used them. We've gifted them. We endorse them. Yeah. It's a wonderful little product, and it's dishwasher safe, and it has a great little soft lid, little sensory experience. Comes in a bunch of different colors. It's made right here in the USA. And if you go to munchiemug.com and use promo code Don't Make Me, that's all one word, Don't Make Me, no apostrophe, you're going to get 25% off your entire order. 1 cup to 100 cups, you're getting 25% off that entire order. Promo code Don't Make Me, that's all one word, 25% off your total order. Munchie Mug.
Making your life less messy.
That's it, baby.
As you read that, I just remembered we got a new baby coming in our
life. We're having a baby, everybody. Yeah, Melissa's got an announcement.
And I need to get one.
Who?
For them. Nick and Bonnie.
Oh, our old neighbors are having a baby. That's nice.
In October.
That's really sweet.
Isn't that so sweet?
Yeah, they're our favorite neighbors you've ever had.
We've had a lot of great neighbors.
Yeah.
They were the best.
They were great. They were really, really great.
Yeah.
I liked our first neighbors, Ming and My Van, too. And they.
What do you remember about them?
They were very nice.
Oh, Mike and Melissa.
That was funny.
Yes.
They were like, they introduced themselves, and they're like, our names are Ming and My Van, but you can call us Mike and Melissa. And you're like, we can call you your names.
You know what?
These are doable. I can get these.
They were actually Heijin and Bundo.
Heijin and Bundo were our first ones, right?
Our first neighbors.
Mike and My, they were.
Ming and My Van
were.
They lived behind us.
That's right. They were
here.
Ming and My Van here. Heijin and Bundo were our first ones, and they were the ones who introduced themselves and go, "Well, you can just call us Mike and Melissa." And you're like, I mean, that is a hard turn.
Right.
We can do Heijin and Bundo. These are we got these, man.
But the My Van, she had a van.
That was funny. It's all coming back to me now.
I remember she parked in our driveway and we were like, my van? That's your van.
Is that, was it real? Like, who's on first? You're like, is that our van? No, that's my van. My van's my van. My van's van. What? No, that's my van. No, she's my van. That's her van.
Has a van.
This is stupid. This is the dumbest joke ever.
Mike and Melissa also had a van.
Yeah,
anyway.
Yeah. That was funny because they were married grad students and they drove a minivan. You're like, I guess you guys are just ready to go.
They were.
You are ready to
Then they had a
go.
baby.
Melissa, we're going to end this podcast because we got a flurry of emails about our AirPod controversy.
Okay.
So to refresh any listeners who did not listen last
week,
Melissa and I were having a discussion regarding AirPods, Air Jewels.
Yes.
And there's a lot of controversy in our family about this because let me do my best to summarize it. As a general rule, I think being around somebody in a social setting when you have AirPods in, and I would say this in the home, I think it's rude, especially if you're going to try and dialogue with them in any way whatsoever. That's, I guess, what I'm saying. In a situation where dialogue might happen, I think it's very rude to have on AirPods because it's communicating to them that you're not really focused on them or I need something else.
Yeah.
Like, I will deal with you as long as you can have background music as well. There are, I think, two different types of counter arguments to that. One is hey, these are kids. This is the life they live. They're always plugged in.
Sure.
And I'm very unsympathetic to that argument because I go, well, no, not in my house. You're not. You can do that on your own time. That's fine. But it's still, I don't think that that's a polite way to handle yourself in a house. Like Joel knows, do not have an AirPod in when you're trying to talk to me. If you have your AirPods in and you're doing homework or the dishes or you're just walking through the house, that's one thing. I don't care. You're not engaging with me right now. But don't take one out and try and talk to me. You'd be with us or don't be with us. And then there's the other usage of it, which is what you were getting at. And that's where our spat came from, which is you're like, hey, I just need things to quiet down.
Yeah.
Because it's all a lot for me right now. And I get. That I totally get. And I'm like, well, why don't you just remove yourself entirely from that?
But there's a lot of times when you're like, I got to be around physically, to make sure everyone's actually doing their homework.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Because that's all on Chromebooks.
That's absolutely,
Yeah.
Was that a good summary of the discussion?
I think so.
Okay, here we go. Earplugs for Melissa. I haven't read all of these.
Okay, so I haven't read any of them.
This is from Taylor. Hi, I'm in the middle of today's episode, but I won't remember to send this later. I have loop earplugs.
I have those.
Okay, I use the quiet ones and they are awesome. But there are different levels of dimmer cancellation you can get. They also lay flat in your ear so you can sleep with them in. Life's general noises make me loony, so I understand and I hope this helps a lot. Love the butt. So that's what you have?
Yeah, I got this idea from the HR mom on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she has ADD, so.
But I do, and you don't.
I know.
Just let him distract you, baby.
She wears them to church.
Yeah.
Because she says that the crinkling of the paper and just like the general noises in church drive her nuts.
Interesting.
And she's got fidgets and the loop earring. Yeah. Earplugs in.
That's interesting because you have the noises thing.
Yeah.
And, but not.
It's more volume.
Yeah.
And chewing.
AirPod etiquette. This is from Natalie. Okay, maybe I suck, but I totally wear headphones around the family. In my defense, I warn people, and I think that I would recommend.
Okay.
I think that's, I'm not saying you, I'm just saying in general. I think if you're going to put them in, it's
AirPods.
AirPods.
Yes.
It's in a setting when we're all together. I do that with you. I go, like if I'm watching, like where I use my AirPods a lot is when I pack. And I'll say that I was like, hey, I'm going to put these in. Like just a little heads up. And I specifically say what I'm doing. Hey, I'm going to wear headphones while I do the dishes, laundry, dinner, etc. Also, the rest of you should be doing something else anyway. That's kind of what you're getting at. Yeah. I feel like in past times I would have just shut the door, but they're the no doors to our kitchen because life is open concept now. Take it for what it's worth, but I think with warning and time frame, it's totally okay to wear whatever off-brand earbud I found to preserve my sanity and have a better relationship with my spouse and kids because I'm less irritated and I got 10 minutes of the noise of choosing instead of whatever noise other people are directing my way. Side note, Melissa, this is what you got. This is the loop earplugs. I think that's the direction I'm going because sometimes I need to have some awareness of what's going on around me. That's exactly what you're saying. I want it to get quiet, but I still need to know what's happening. I love your show. It's a bright spot in my week and my husband and I both relate to you a lot. Maybe too much, a little too close to home sometimes. Thanks for all the work you two do. I think that you and Natalie are very like-minded there. That's exactly what you're saying is, I actually have to be present here. I can't escape because I still have to kind of keep everybody on task. All right, this one is from Leah here. AirPod opinion from September 14th episode. I'm telling you, people are coming in hot on this. Hey, awesome. Dustin and Melissa, love your pod and your stand-up, Dustin. Also really enjoyed chatting with you in Brooklyn. Maybe you remember Leah and Chris. I do remember Leah and Chris. Thank you for coming out. I wanted to email you about your recent conversation on the podcast about AirPods in the house. I will preface my opinion with that my husband and I do not have any kids, but we do live in a fairly small New York City apartment. I personally feel like Dustin was overreacting a bit to Melissa putting her AirPods in while with family. I think it's fair that she wanted a little less loud while being together in the same room. Sure, she could have left the room and being completely alone, but maybe she wanted to have quiet while still being with her loved ones. Like I said before, my husband and I live in a small New York City apartment, and the only getaway is out on our terrace. So if he or I want to catch up on old podcasts while relaxing in the same room, I think it's fine as long as we communicate what we're planning on doing. I see your side too, Dustin, but maybe ease up a bit. That's fair. I'll take that, Leah. I'll take it. Keep the good work with the podcast, and I can't wait to see Dustin again live.
So yeah, it's not an insult just by, proximity that they're in.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to do the one last one here. And if we didn't get to your email, I'm sorry. We got so many emails on this topic. This one is from Christine.
Love it. Okay.
Though, you know what? We might pick it up again. So send us emails on this and everything to dontmakemecomebackthere@gmail.com. AirPod rudeness. This is from Christine. Oh my G. OMG. This is why I love your podcast. My husband and I were literally just talking about the difference in generations and culture of earpod usage. We are in our upper 30s as well. That in between, quote, technically I'm a millennial, but don't call me that generation. I don't mind earbuds in. I get it. And I have a teenager. But when is it too far? My husband works as an RN in an ER. And he says the younger generations of employees work all 12-hour shifts in and out of patient rooms with one earbud in at all times.
Yeah.
I was mortified. How is that even allowed? Do you have no self-respect? I don't think it even phases them. I am seeing more and more employees having it in.
Mm-hmm. Like at SeaWorld.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it even phases them. You are just always connected. That's the new culture. Thanks for always keeping me laughing, and I know it's not just me, and I'm not just old now. P.S. Love the book. Read it in one day. Dying laughing about you and asking Mel's dad for her hand at Crazy Autos. I live in Lancaster, born and raised. Oh, that's hilarious. Crazy Autos got a big, big chunk in that book.
Mm-hmm.
So.
World's largest omelet.
Yeah. So what do you think, Mel? You're just.
I'm kind of torn, honestly.
I'm realizing now that I'm probably wrong here.
Well, I don't know if this, Gen Z, like going on that Getty field trip,
Right.
Like that's what I was trying to explain. Like kids had one earbud and bud pod in the whole time.
The whole time.
I saw people vaping on rides at SeaWorld. Like this is the new culture.
The connected culture.
And I'm not saying.
I mean, the vaping is a totally different thing entirely.
But it's just like something
if
tangible.
Joel vapes in the house, that's rude.
It's just tangibly not what we had.
Right. Yeah. We had to smoke cigarettes, outside or in the bathroom. At my dad's high school, they would do it at the cemetery. There was a nearby cemetery.
Yeah, we had Ranko's, the drugstore.
There you go. Yeah.
I didn't smoke in high school, but
you don't smoke now.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point being, culture's changing and it's passing us.
Yeah, it is enough. Listen, I understand that but I will say this again: headphones are not new. Headphones have been around.
Walkmans and iPods.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we did this, but it did the always tuned in thing, always connected to your device. I think that's what I mean. It's two different discussions. And I think it is very reasonable in the home that you're a parent of to go, hey, no, what do you do at school and with your friends and on your field trips? That's your business. I don't care about that. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to engage with me in any ways, take those off, both of them. I don't like it. It's not. It's just not gonna. You're just not focused. That's all. You're not. And also, the last thing that a kid needs in his house is to remain plugged in. That's the last thing that they need. The best thing that we do for Joel and Gloria when they get home is go, phones, please, now. You just be here. Just be bored. Just do your homework. No, I get that you want to be plugged in, and I get that your friends are, but you don't need to be. It's not good for you to be.
It's good to take a break. I think that we have this stance that parents should have, and that they're like, hey, less tech.
Less.
And the kid is going to go the other way. It's the same thing with like how they dress, what they listen to music wise. Like the point is that we should not be like, yeah, have as much candy as you want.
Right.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, because they don't have self-control.
We're going to take a more conservative approach than the child.
Yeah, of course, the child. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's a pull. of everyone. But it does feel like a new etiquette topic because of the AirPod is so, versatile. You really can have an AirPod in at all times.
And it's not always playing. And I understand that on AirPods. I use AirPods. I travel with AirPods. It's when people say like it's a new thing. You're like, we use them. I understand. I know what's happening on the other end of that AirPod. It's a podcast, it's music. Or when you take one out, a lot of the time your device silences, But, and I'm not even saying at work, this is not a comment on Gen Z and what they do and don't do. I don't care what they do. It doesn't matter to me. I have no skin in that game whatsoever. If they want to do that, that's their business. But I'm just talking about in the home, it's a totally different thing. And if you don't want your kid to wear AirPods, and I don't, like when he does his homework, that's one thing. But that's a discussion we can have another time too, where it was like, this is not helping your homework. If you want to listen to music, then get a radio and put on the radio. Like that, you can listen to music, get a CD and put that in there. If you have your phone, there is no way that you are only listening to music. There's no way. It's impossible.
Well, yeah, we're trying to teach our kids study habits, and that's not going well.
The phone and study habits are the enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, it helps me. I'm bored. I'm like, that's the point of boring. You're supposed to be. Yeah. And then, but if you just do the work, it'll be done, and then you won't be bored. What your thing is, and that's like, I'm not going to change on that. Like, and I will fight the phone battle constantly because like you're saying, we're coming from the place of less is more. Just pull back. You don't always be plugged in. Not here. You will never, you get your whole life to do that. The one with you, I was way wrong in though, because I was like not reading.
Well, I hadn't told you yet. Yeah. I was like, oh babe, I got these noise cancel.
Also, when you're stressed, you're kind of like giving us all mean looks at the same time too. So it looks like what's happening is you guys are all too much. Which is, it doesn't just feel personal. It is personal. I'm going to take a little break from you guys here. Or I'm going to like lessen you a little bit. But I need to be more sympathetic in that moment and go, yeah, that's fine. Do whatever you need to do,
Right. Yeah, that unfortunately, that's probably the hardest part of a relationship is being like, hey, I need this to help me. And then you're like, well, I don't like that.
Yeah. And I took that personally. Anyways, everybody, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. Keep sending your emails to dontmakemecomebackthere@gmail.com. Thanks for being a part of the podcast. We love you guys. Appreciate you so much.
All right. See ya. Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening, everybody. Wanted to give a special shout out to our As Essential as Oils patrons. That's our $25 a month and up level patrons. Thank you so much for your support of the podcast and Dustin Nickerson comedy. That is Trey Turner, Nathan and Jennifer Merritt, Adam Bush, Jennifer Ashley Downs, Juliana Smith, Jordan Cowan, Code to Grow, Courtney Eibling, Lori Amos, Dave and Melissa Cox, Isaac Terron, Farrah Journey, Bonnie Galindo, Carrie Teague, Averill Griffiths, Jessica Sewell, Rachel Kennedy, Dave Hoagland, Demarius Diaz-Stevens, Nicole Carraz, and Tiffany Payne. Thank you so much, everybody.